بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We'll just continue from what we've been discussing regarding the virtues of a plague. Now we mentioned that if a person passes away due to a plague, then inshallah ta'ala person will receive the reward of a martyr. And not just that, but if a person remains in that affected area during the plague, inshallah ta'ala, whether the person passes away or not, there's still reward. So there's two rewards here. One is for remaining in that area, the plague affected area. A person will be rewarded for that. Another is passing away due to the plague. So now a person, obviously when they have to stay in that plague affected area, then they have to go through patience, sabr, and they have to face this reality that, I'm putting my life on the line, I'm risking my life. Now in the hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has mentioned that tuhfatul mu'min al-maut, that death is a gift for a believer. Now before we go into this, we have to understand that why is our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why is he saying this for? So we have to imagine that if there's a child who's inside a mother's womb. Now remember, this child, since he's been in the womb, all he's been doing is, just eating and sleeping. He's been eating whatever his mother has been eating. He's been drinking whatever his mother has been drinking. And this child, he has no worries and no concerns. He doesn't have to worry about wearing clothes. He doesn't have to worry about living in a house. He doesn't have to worry about whether it's hot or whether it's cold. He doesn't have to worry about earning money. He doesn't have to worry about providing for others. There's no worry, there's no concern. The only life which this child has inside the womb of the mother is to eat and to sleep and to rest and relax, and that's it. There's nothing more than that. Now, when this child, it's time for him to leave, when it's time for him to leave the mother's womb, and obviously the child cries. It cries. And obviously the child is in a very comfortable place. So now the mother tries to explain to the child that, this womb that you're in, or this place that you're in, it's restricted. There's only so much space that you have in there. And the food that you eat is only a part of what I eat. You're not eating food yourself, you're eating what I eat. The drink which you drink is what I drink. And the comfort which you feel is limited. But when you come out of the stomach, when you come out of the womb, there's a whole new life. There's so much space, so much freedom. And the food you eat, you eat your own food. You're not eating some chewed food which I've eaten. You're eating your own food. And you're drinking your own drink. And there's so many, you can see, the night and the day. In the stomach, there's only night. There's no, or there's nothing. It's just darkness, isn't there? There's no light. But when you're in the world, you can see darkness and you can see light. When you're in the world, you can see the stars, you can see the skies, you can see the earth, you can see mountains. There's so many different scenes that a person can view. And there's animals that you can see, and there's different types of vehicles. There's helicopters in the skies, there's airplanes, and there's trains, there's cars, and so on and so forth. So there's so much you can do on earth, and there's so many things, and in comparison, the earth, in comparison to the life of the mother's womb, it's nothing. There's no comparison between them. Obviously the luxuries of the earth is way more, and it's a lot more better, it's a lot more pleasurable than the life inside the stomach. So now the mother will try and say this to the child, and will try and explain this to the child. But even then, when it comes for the child to leave the mother's womb, what will the child do? The child will cry. Why is he crying for? because he's leaving his zone of comfort. He's going into a strange place. He's not sure where he's going to end up, despite being told beforehand. So now our Prophet ﷺ is explaining to us that this worldly life which we live in, the worldly comforts which we experience, it's nothing in comparison to the comforts and the desires of the hereafter. Our Prophet ﷺ is telling us that this worldly life here, that's not the only life you have. There's a life beyond that, and that's a life of the hereafter. And in the hereafter, when you taste something, the first time it tastes good, tastes wonderful. The second bite you have, it tastes even better. The third bite you have, it tastes better than the second bite, and it gets better and better and better. And like we see in the roads and the streets, there's pebbles and stones just hanging around. In Jannah, it's different. The pebbles and stones are of precious rubies and diamonds and gold and silver. There's no comparison. And in Jannah, there's palaces of so many rooms, and the last person to enter Jannah will be given a kingdom 10 times the size of this world. And over here in this world, how much of a kingdom do we have? We're fortunate enough to own a property, but how big is that property in reality? Even if there's someone who's in charge of a country, if there's someone who says the king of a country, how big is his kingdomship? How big is his empire? It can never go beyond the entire earth. So our Prophet ﷺ is saying, Tuhfatul Mu'min al-Maut, that death is a gift for a believer. Why? Because a person can only access this life. A person can only gain entry into the hereafter after going through death. Without death, it's not possible. In the same way, like we mentioned, the child, when the child hears about the earth and the life on earth, it sounds nice, but the child can only have access to that life and can only be granted entry into that life after he leaves the stomach of his mother, after he leaves the womb of his mother. So in the same manner, we as Muslims, we cannot have access to the life of the hereafter. We cannot have access and we cannot have this entry into Jannah without leaving the womb of this world. Hence, Tuhfatul Mu'min al-Maut. Death is a gift for a believer. May Allah Ta'ala gives the tawfiq to understand, inshallah Ta'ala. May Allah Ta'ala gives the tawfiq to benefit, inshallah Ta'ala. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.